You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps, and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode? Hello and welcome to the second episode in the new calendar year of 2024. I am so excited to dive into this episode with you because it is something I am so passionate about. And not only am I passionate about it, it also is the foundation of all method acting training. And I've noticed, because I have taken acting classes myself, which are not focused on method acting, I've noticed that other acting classes don't necessarily focus on this, on giving tools and techniques to be able to overcome this thing, which is nerves. And the reason I want to talk to you about nerves today is because they've been coming up a lot in our groups at Standby. So some people have noticed that they feel very anxious before scenes. And it's like they know what they want to do with a scene, but then they get anxious and either their mind goes blank or they just don't do what it is that they're wanting to do with the scene. Totally normal. Totally bloody normal. I mean, obviously, we need to overcome it because we can't have that happening, because that's simply going to hold you back from giving your best performances. And it's not going to help your career accelerate. It's simply not. We do need to acknowledge that. But at the same time, you don't need to give yourself a hard time, because there are things we can do within method acting to overcome this. And it is easily overcomable. The other thing that's been spoken about is not knowing how to be present in scenes. And again, this comes down to nerves. And so what some of the people have been saying who've been talking about this in our groups is that, you know, sometimes they'll just corpse mid-scene. And if you're not sure what corpsing means, it's simply just getting the giggles. Or for some of them, they might all of a sudden in the middle of a scene just go blank, or they might start disassociating from the scene. And then feel like, oh God, I'm really not in the scene, but then become aware of everything else that's going on around them and just become aware of being a person stood in a scene with no purpose, not in character, you know, just as themselves. And again, I want to reassure you that these things are normal. They happen to us all. Of course, we don't want them happening, but if they do, you can get in control of them. I'm going to start by saying repetition is the mother of success. So if you know you struggle with these things, yes, you're going to get some really good advice in this episode today. But if you keep repeating the things that you're doing, that's when it becomes a real problem, because as I've already said, it will slow down your career progression. But more than that, it will knock your confidence in yourself. And then when you're not confident, you just won't chase your dreams with as much vitality as you would when you do believe in yourself. On the opposite hand, because there's always two sides to every coin, when you learn the new things to replace these nerves with, or not to replace them, sorry, but to move away from them, and you keep practicing them, repetition is the mother of success. So you get really good at knowing how to move away from nerves. So we're going to be looking into 3 things you can do to release nerves before scenes start. And then if the nerves pick back up again in the middle of the scene, you can use these 3 things again in the middle of a scene. With method acting, everything is overcomable. Every single acting problem that you will ever be faced with or experience or find challenging, you'll always find something in method acting to move away from it. And then you'll become very confident, because you'll know you can deal with it. You'll know you're capable of it. What many schools aren't teaching you about is the nervous system. They're not teaching you about how nerves are actually a physical symptom of your nervous system being reactive, which takes you into fight or flight. Now, we do cover this much deeper in the 10-week method acting modules, but here's a very brief overview. When you're in fight or flight, which is what happens when you're before a scene starts and you start to feel anxious and your mind goes blank, or when in mid-scene you get the giggles, your nervous system's actually gone into survival mode. and it is not in creative mode, and therefore you are no longer present. Being present is absolute key in all scenes, because when you're present, you're not overthinking. And we don't want overthinking, because when you're overthinking, you will give what we call mechanical performances, which means there's no life in them. There's no emotional connection. There's no genuine character connection. But other schools are not teaching you this. And it's important that you know this. Now, nerves can be very, very low level. And if you know how to use them as a conduit to access your imagination deeper, then you're okay. This is not the case for many actors. And as I've already said, repetition is the mother of success. So if you keep having these experiences where at the beginning of a scene, you're getting that anxious, your mind's going blank, you can't remember your lines, you're panicking about what you're doing, you're wondering if you'll be good enough, eventually your confidence is going to erode. And I'm here to say, with the method, we can step in and we can change that. So here's 3 things that I would be asking my students on the 10-week method acting modules to do. Number 1, I would be saying, what is your intention as the actor? Not as the character, but as the actor with the scene. For example, you might recognise in the scene that the character is raging. It's pure rage. Now, what can happen when we're nervous is we just hook into shouting loudly. Even though we're not genuinely connected to it, we shout loudly because we think that's what pure rage is. But instead, you might go, I know my character's raging, but I want to explore the more vulnerable side of this anger, as opposed to playing a high level of rage. What you've done there is you've already moved yourself away from the nerves, because you are asking what your intention is as the actor with the scene. And then it just becomes a case of exploring that. Now, I'm not saying you're going to find the truth of the scene. I'm not saying it's going to be your best work. I'm just saying you're actually now going in intentionally as an artist, because as actors, we are artists. We're constantly in the state of creating, or want to be, and we can't be when the nerves are present. The second thing I'd be asking my students in the 10-week method acting modules to do is ask what the intention of the character is. That's their aim, it's their plan. And this takes script analysis. Yeah, you've got to do the script analysis before you do any scene, because if not, you are leaving yourself wide open for nerves to come in. Now, script analysis is not the sexy work of an actor, definitely not. But it is the stuff that fuels up your imagination and it gives you new ideas. So you're not leaving yourself wide open to nerves, because then you can go, oh no, actually, I've got this idea from my script analysis. It also stops you playing the scene in a generic 2-dimensional way, because you've dug deeper. When you've done that script analysis, I can't even tell you how confident you will feel. As in, I can tell you how confident you'll feel. You'll feel very, very, very confident, because you've got choices galore. And then all you have to do is hone in on 1, 2, maybe 3 maximum choices. So ask what the intention of the character is and use your script analysis to help you find that. Can you see already with these 2 steps, we've already moved away from nerves. Nerves get bigger and more intense the more we think about them, because we're giving them energy, and the energy is just in the wrong place and it has to move somewhere else. Then thirdly, what I'd be asking my students on the 10-week method acting modules to do is draw upon a method acting exercise. And in this case, I would give them rampaging. I would ask them to do it. I'd demonstrate the exercise myself first. Then I'd say, okay, now your turn, you do it. And then when I ask you to, go into the scene. This makes such a difference, because you are connecting to the intentions of the character in a visceral way. And what I mean by visceral is you are having a genuine, energetic and emotional experience. There's then no room for nerves. And what you've done is you've got yourself in the right energy for the character and to a very good level of focus. And then what usually happens when an actor has done the rampaging exercise is they start to find new things in the scene that they'd never even considered before, and they tend to work. So those are the 3 things that I would be asking my students to do, and it's something you need to do as well. And as I said, I've said it quite a few times in this episode, repetition is the mother of success. You keep practicing these 3 things. I'm not saying the nerves will evaporate overnight, because it does take practice, but eventually they'll disappear and you will be giving your best performances. Now, if this is something you are absolutely serious about in 2024, because you're like, do you know what? I don't want to be feeling these nerves all the time. I want to be stepping into an actor who gives very, very truthful, powerful performances that keep their audiences hooked. Then check out the 10-week method acting modules. Applications are closing very, very, very soon. The next one starts January the 17th. And it's online, so you can be from around the world to take this. It's 10 weeks of live, practical method acting, hands-on coaching with myself. I've left the link underneath the episode for you, so definitely go and check it out. And these are the things we'll be diving into in even more depth on a more practical level. So as always, I hope this has fired you up. Hope you've seen these issues are definitely overcomeable. And I'll see you soon.
I've absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode, and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking, and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.